All right. Where are we at? 7:20 on our Monday evening tropical storm Idalia update, and just that, it's still just a tropical storm at this particular point. However, it should be a hurricane later tonight. Recon's out there right now. Got a couple planes going out there right now, and tonight and tomorrow morning, really going to be really big, important moments in the track of this particular storm here, because it's going to determine where this thing goes. There's some indications it was going to the west, which is actually good for us here, but we've seen some model runs in the last couple of hours that are coming to the east, and that's not good for us here in Tampa. So let's get started with it, shall we? Let's get a bigger picture here so you can see Adalia. 70-mile-per-hour winds finally moving to the north. Look at that. That took a while, too. Moving to the north at 8 miles per hour, and you can see that that's going to get it out of the Northwest Caribbean here in just a little bit. Now, since it's been sitting down here, it's meandered around, and it kind of came over here to the east a little bit. You know, the further east it gets, when it goes north, the further east it's going to end up. And so that's not what we exactly want to see. We're seeing some rain building out ahead of it right now, just a little bit. The shear is trying to relax a little bit. There's been some shear moving from west to east right up in this area here. That should start to relax. And unfortunately, it's taken so much time down here, and it's gotten stronger because it's been sitting here over warm water, but it's taken so much time, it's allowed the shear to kind of relax to the north, and that should allow it to strengthen as it moves to the north tomorrow. So there's the latest forecast. This was at 5 o'clock this evening. 85-mile-per-hour winds by early tomorrow morning. That's basically overnight. Tomorrow afternoon, 105 Cat 2. And then tomorrow night into Wednesday morning, that's likely around 2, 3 in the morning right there, with 120-mile-per-hour winds. That is a major hurricane. Anything 111 or higher is considered a major hurricane. And then, yeah, it does look like it will curve out and move out across the Carolinas, Georgia, the Carolinas, and then head out to sea. It'll be weakening. But still, the forecast is very similar for the southeast coast with about 60-mile-per-hour winds. And a little bit of a surge there. But obviously the big question is what's going to happen in Florida, and Florida is going to have to deal with the Gulf Coast. Well, look, the Gulf Coast is going to deal with it either way. It's just how much are we going to get. So still have the hurricane, well, warnings. I shouldn't say still. They went up as warnings earlier this afternoon. That's the red coloring that you see there. Manatee, Pinellas, Hillsborough, Pasco, Hernando, Citrus County, all hurricane warnings. When you're looking at this, the highest, what that means is that we expect hurricane force winds in this area. All right. The best chance is going to be the further north you go and right along the coast here. So we're going to get some gusts. I think, the Weather Service said we get gusts almost to 120 on the coastline of Pinellas County. I think, I hope that doesn't happen. But you're going to get some gusts in the range there. So we're going to have to watch. I think the highest gust, that number, if it's going to happen, is going to be probably up here more than anything else. And then the winds will really drop off as you work your way inland. Only expecting winds around 40, 50 miles per hour for inland locations. All right, so here's the forecast track. Here are the spaghetti plots. Now, couple different things here. European, right around here on the right side. During the day today, we've seen the GFS and some others starting to populate this way right here. You see that? Up towards Tallahassee. So you got two schools of thought. You got that one, and then you got the east one. And this afternoon, in fact, the Hurricane Center forecast track has kind of been pushing a little bit back to the left, back to the west today. But we still got a bunch of models out here, including the European, which has been all over this the whole time. What's steering this thing? All right, well, it's a trough. It's a big trough sitting in here, and it's moving to the east. All right, it's moving in that direction. Now, let me go out a frame. And there's the trough, right? But look what happens. The trough builds back here. You see that? And it does this. This, by the way, is Franklin. All right? This little nodule that you see back here, on the this is the GFS model. On the European model, it's a little bit like this. It's not as deep. And what these troughs do is they if these storms are close enough, it pulls them right up and out. Right? That's the weakness. A hurricane down here is not going to go into that high-pressure ridge. It just doesn't happen that way. It won't go into this high-pressure ridge either. It's going to go in between the two, just like that. This is Franklin. Franklin's clearly getting picked up and taken out. That's what Franklin's going to do, right? I think our hurricane or storm that it is now won't get completely picked up. It'll get pulled up and then turned out because I think this is going to go without it. So let me put this into motion for you real fast and show you what I'm talking about. So this is Wednesday afternoon. There's the storm. All right, there's the trough. So it went by. That's Franklin. Franklin's clearly getting caught up in the trough. This one's not. Italia is not. Adalia is not. I think Adalia is going to get left behind. So this argues a couple different things here. You could say that's going to get pulled to the north and then maybe not pushed as far to the right, although the models are suggesting a little bit different. You could say it's going to go to the north and then slowly get more up into Georgia maybe before it goes out. But still, it's still feeling these effects, and so that looks like that's where it's going. So that's essentially what's driving it. And on a smaller scale, we're looking right here. How big and how powerful is this high pressure? In fact, let me back it up because by this point, the storm's up in North Florida. We don't care how big it is. We want to know what it is right now, right? There's Franklin. Here's the high pressure nudging its little nose over there. If you saw that, this high pressure had a little nose that kind of went like this, right? That's what's forcing this way. But then you notice the picture where I'm at now, that nose is gone, right? So that's kind of opening the door for this to come up and out. So that's kind of some of the immediate steering that's happening right now. You know, you want it, if you're in Tampa, you want it to be further offshore. Here are the winds. This is what's called the wind radii from the National Hurricane Center. I kind of drew that white arrow in there so you get an idea. It's a counterclockwise flow. But look, this is 2 a.m. Wednesday morning. Hurricane force winds, right? Sustained hurricane force winds are in the red. Look how far offshore they are. 60-mile-per-hour winds. Anything that would give us a severe thunderstorm warning in the summertime is in the orange. Look how far offshore they are. So what will happen actually is, let me even back this up for you a little bit. Tomorrow, about 7 or 8 in the evening, 7 or 8 p.m. Tuesday, we're going to start to see, this is 8 p.m., we're going to start to see these tropical storm force winds approach the coast. And then they'll just continue to pick up. Winds will pick up gradually throughout the afternoon tomorrow. You're going to notice that. Oh, a little breeze in the morning, breezy in the afternoon, windy at night, okay? This is 2 a.m. Wednesday. And then this is from the Hurricane Center. I think this comes a little further to the right. I hate to say it, but I think I'll show you a model here that's shifting quite a bit to the right. But this is the latest from the Hurricane Center. They won't make big jumps, but they've got it going in here up near Cedar Key. And you can see where storm surge is going to be right in this area, right in here. And yeah, Citrus County, you're going to get it pretty good as well, too. All right. By the way, landfall around 8 or 9 o'clock on Wednesday morning. The odds of seeing tropical storm force winds, anything from like 39 to about 73-mile-per-hour winds, basically 70 to 85% for Tampa northward. Obviously a little bit lower when you go further to the south. The likely arrival times, 7 p.m. Tuesday, we'll see the winds get to tropical storm force. They should go down by about 11 a.m. on Wednesday morning. That's below 39 mile per hour Wednesday morning. That's probably a little bit longer for that. I don't think they'll last that long, but that gives you that time frame. It's Tuesday night into Wednesday. Now look, that wind's blowing the water. So we have this storm surge warning all up and down the coast, right? Storm surge is not rainfall. Has nothing to do with rain at all. It is the wind pushing what is normally the Gulf of Mexico, sitting out there at the beach, or Tampa Bay waters. The wind blows real hard. It physically blows that water up onto the shore. That is storm surge. Now, storm surge numbers are looking like we could be going anywhere from 4 to 7 in the Tampa Bay area. And if the storm gets closer, that's a legit number. And then all the way up, look at, Hernando County, northern Pasco, 6 to 9, 8 to 12 foot when you get up into Citrus County. Hermine, Ada, there was another one. This would be stronger than that. So keep that in mind, especially Ada that we had 2022. Was that last year? This is going to be stronger than that. So you guys see the forecast track at this particular time. Now, I also want to point out just real fast here, You see, this is the cone, right, from the Hurricane Center. You say, oh, look, well, Tampa's not in the cone anymore. Oh, great. St. Pete not in there. Hernando not in there. This has nothing to do with the weather. This is where the center of the storm is and the air. When they say we think it's going to be here, they go back and they look at their errors in their forecast track over the last 5 years, and they take 2/3 of it, however far off they were, and they make a circle. And that circle is centered on this, and it basically goes like that, right? And then they do it for the next spot, and they connect the sides of these circles with this outside lane. That's all it is, right? It has nothing to do. There's going to be a ton of weather out here, okay? Highest winds will be right here around the center, and on the right side, we're on what's called the dirty side. There'll also be that tornado threat out here, right? We will definitely have that for the late afternoon and early evening hours of Tuesday, tomorrow. Likely have a tornado watch. But that's when we'll start to have them coming through with our outer rain bands. So let's go through this real quick. This is 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. This is our in-house model that we have here, and this is the one that shifted. At 5 o'clock, it was looking great. It was further offshore. At 6 o'clock, it came on shore. Well, not on shore, but closer to the coast. So 3 p.m., winds are picking up, southeast winds. That's blowing the water out. It's not a surge event yet. Tomorrow afternoon, not at 3 p.m. Showers and storms coming through. When these bands come through, first you have a tornado threat in these outer bands, right? And you're going to get it in, especially in these bands right in here. This is 8 p.m. Tuesday, right around sunset. But also when these bands come through, it'll rain really heavy. It'll get kind of windy. And then they'll pass by very quickly, and then the wind will die down a little bit. But gradually, what you're going to notice is that the wind kind of gets a little bit more and more and more every time you get one of those rain bands in, and the wind will just build through the evening hours. Now, I want to go out to about 12:30 in the morning. This model run is a lot closer than what the previous model run and had it out here. Because this is closer, we have higher winds right here. This is 12:30. Now the wind is blowing like this. And that is blowing the water right up into the mouth of the bay. That's blowing it up right on the beaches of Manatee, Sarasota, but especially up into Pinellas. Because you've got higher winds right here than you do down here. Okay? So you're going to get a higher surge in northern Pinellas and all the way up if this happens. The European model is not far off from this, guys. The Hurricane Center forecast is a little to the left of this. It's kind of out here. So after midnight, or around midnight tomorrow night, so we're talking Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, that's when the weather's really going to go downhill. This is 4 a.m., still a lot of wind pushing water up. That's our surge time, right? Midnight to 4 a.m., and slowly coming down towards sunrise, but even that's going to take a while. Still haven't seen the limit of it up here, right? We don't even have the storm on shore yet. But where that goes on shore is going to be the highest. That would be up towards Chiefland. I got to say, right now, guys, that is Crystal River. So, again, this is just a model. This will change a little bit, but this is what really caught my eye this afternoon. Our in-house model is saying landfall just or exactly near Crystal River, and that is bad news there. That would be 12 foot of storm surge there. That'd be really bad for Crystal River. So let's hope that this is wrong. That's about 6:30 in the morning. Then it moves in. Things fall apart, and we start to dry out just a little bit. So winds, let's take a look at that same model. This is just going to show you what the winds look like. Go out to about Tuesday afternoon. Look at that, 15-mile-per-hour winds, gusts in the 20s. Breezy for sure. By 9 p.m., you've got winds in the 20s with gusts in the 30s. And then after that, the winds really start to pick up. So this is 1 a.m. We've got winds in the 30s, 40s along the coast, gusts in the 50s. And then as we get the storm just to our north, right there, that's about 6 in the morning. But I think 3 a.m. to 6 a.m. is when we'll see our highest winds along the coast. Now, Weather Service here says we could see 110-mile-per-hour gusts out on Pinellas County beaches. That would be incredible. That's a lot of surge if that happened. That's a lot of wind. The winds will greatly drop off as soon as you go inland. But on the back side of this, that wind is wrapping around over top of the Gulf of Mexico. There is just nothing to stop it, right? So that is that's the potential. Now, that's with the center doing something like this, right? If the center was doing out like this, like the previous runs were saying, we'd get less wind altogether. So, again, the Hurricane Center forecast is kind of somewhere out here. It might even be a little to the left of that line I just drew in the middle. We'll just have to see what they want to do tonight at 11 o'clock. They'll give us the latest update. So what should you do, right? Well, you need to get prepared for a hurricane coming by. We just know from experience these things can turn. Charlie, Ian, a lot of them, especially when they come up from this area. Rainfall amounts 4 to 7 inches, with some areas locally more than that.